Many months ago, I began making a horror game around a single idea, being trapped in a room with a creepy robot head, and he would be interrogating. The problem was, I had no idea how this would come together. Where do you even start something like this? Would it actually be a good game? Before I could even start making the game, I would need a monster, so I approached the same team as before that made my Dead Exhale Spider. This time I had a brand new idea. After all, this game would be nothing without its antagonist. Well, right away I was faced with a challenge. As it turns out, the things I wanted this monster to do were actually quite difficult. For instance, having the face open like a puzzle, while also being able to make facial expressions, was something not often done. Luckily, the studio knew how to approach this carefully, and we began the process creating this model. How this basically works is I showed them some art I liked, as well as generating some concepts on my own, just to give them an idea of what I saw in my head. They started working immediately. Creating a model is a back and forth process with a lot of fine tuning. This is, after all, very important as it is the literal face of the game, and it needs to be exactly what I saw in my head. It took some time, but what they created was something truly special. Take a look at it. With a monster under our belt, we had completed the first step in our game. After all, what is a horror game without a scary monster? And yes, I took some inspiration from Five Nights at Freddy's. Quick shout out to today's sponsor, Bezzy. And if you're a Unity developer, this one's actually really interesting. Bezzy is a development assistant for Unity that actually understands your entire project. And I'm not talking about just individual scripts. It can help you write code, build prototypes, and create custom editor tools. And basically it just automates all those repetitive tasks that just slow us down every day. So you can focus on the fun part, making the game. And okay, there is a big new feature. It's called Bezzy Actions. This lets Bezzy make changes inside your project. Not just writing code, but actually building things. It can create modified scenes, prefabs, and game objects. It can also configure scriptable objects as well. And I know what you're thinking. It is scary to give AI that much control over your project. And that is why everything is so safely controlled. Everything you can do is easily reversible with a single click. It's not taking away anyone's job, it's just making it easier for solo developers to do what they love. So if you're working in Unity and you want to move faster without losing control and start making your dream game, click that link to Bezzy below. Alright, let's get back to it. Next, we needed an area for the game to take place. I was picturing in my head like a dark basement, wires and pipes and cement, just a terrible place to exist. Claustrophobic. I quickly put this room together, and though there have been some changes over time, this area has essentially stayed the same. Next, I created the room you'd be interrogated in. I had an idea that the player might choose before starting the game, whether they were guilty or not guilty, and that might affect the way you were questioned by the monster. And then I realized, although this would be scary, it would just make so much more sense if the monster was the killer, and you were the detective. It's so important to hash these details off early on, as you can't really develop a proper game loop if you don't have a clear picture in your mind. So the player is the detective, and the monster is the killer. With the clear game idea finalized in my brain, and a creepy robot killer model, as well as an oppressive basement for this all to take place, we're getting closer to making this game reality. Now, let me describe to you how I saw the opening scene of the game working. The player sits down, the companion computer pops up on the left-hand side. You hit a little button that says activate. The robot killer, who I ironically call Judge, comes to life. Well, that was the idea, but there were some issues actually. You see, this thing has 28 neck segments, and I have to make that and the head move around correctly as though they are a robot. At first I tried to program physics for the neck, so each of the links would follow each other appropriately, like a snake. And they would all follow each other and the head as it moves up. I spent hours simulating physics to try and get this working, and it was just weird. All kinds of bugs. Sometimes it would just fly around or glitch out, smash through the wall, vibrate uncontrollably, and whatever this is. And then it came to me, Unity has a built-in physics system. Why am I trying to fake physics when I could just use Unity's built-in version? Now, setting up the neck chain with the built-in Unity physics, I realized I could bypass so much BS. And that means instead of worrying about all the neck links working together, all I had to do was move the head and the chain would follow. Finally, this solved my neck movement problem. But what about the head? It would follow these waypoints. And originally, I had him randomly create and move between the waypoints he had created for himself. But the problem is that sometimes this would lead to him going off in a random direction, which would mean his head could go through a wall or a floor. And I realized eventually, I just needed to create 12 predetermined waypoints and let him randomly choose between them. After that, I created this little twitch system, which is just a little sweetener. It gave it a little uncanny feel, as if he was just adjusting himself to get a better look at you. Now that I had the head looking at the player and moving around all creepy, I felt I was ready to start the dialogue for my game. Well, I shouldn't get ahead of myself, because before I created any dialogue, I wanted to utilize the emotion system I had created. This basically works by typing in a number value for each emotion: happy, sad, or angry, and also combinations. My favorite, angry happy, which creates a characteristically evil looking grin. So then, when a voice line is played, it would read the value of the emotion, and it would set judge's facial expression accordingly. Around that time, I also whipped up a little jaw animator, which simply takes the volume of the voice line and matches the jaw to that movement. This is exactly how they did it in the old Counter-Strike games I grew up with as a kid. So now that we have a killer, moving naturally, reacting emotionally, and able to speak to the player in our creepy, oppressive basement, we now had to worry about the content of this conversation. What would he say? Why would he say it? Initially, I had created this massive tree of dialogue, and based on different choices you made in the conversation, it would split you into different paths within the dialogue tree. I spent days on this system before something started to dawn on me. This conversation was actually just kind of dull. And I don't mean me building the conversation, but how I perceived the player would experience it. Just one long conversation with this floating robot head. It sounded awesome in my mind originally, but it just wasn't really gameplay. Not only that, but I wanted this to be a detective game, and there just wasn't anything about clues or the cool stuff I pictured in my head. Like when I remember young me playing Condemned Criminal Origins. Ah, Condemned, how you scarred me at a young age. Will I ever love again? To solve our dull conversation issue, I needed to create more elements to the game than just this conversation. And so I devised something to engage the player within the conversation. The companion computer sits to the left of the player, and when something in the conversation happens that's important, you would get this clue. Now, initially, I wanted the player to be able to track and type out the clue themselves when it showed up. I quickly realized this was too involved for most players, and not everyone's a fast typer, and I didn't want to limit the accessibility of the game. So I made clues appear automatically in your companion computer. Let me explain to you how clues work. If our robot killer says something about Sally's father, and you as the detective realize there is more to this line of questioning, it might say, "Clue found about Sally's father" in your companion computer. The player would then get up, and they would head to the second computer called the command computer. This is where you would enter the clue and submit it. Once you've submitted it, you've unlocked a case detail, which would tell you more about Judd and unlock more of the conversation. With being able to find more clues and more dialogue options unlocked, now the player wasn't just sitting in the chair having an endless conversation, and we created more intrigue to the game. Now, speaking of the game, I want to give 5 keys away to face interrogation. They're hidden throughout this video, and if you find one, you can unlock the game on Steam when it comes out. So now we have this dialogue to clue and back to dialogue game. It was a loop. It was cool. Yet I still had this creeping feeling that it was still too dull. How would I solve this repetitive and dull game loop? This is when I had one of the biggest moments of inspiration for the game, and it actually came from a movie, one called The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. It's actually an absolute banger of a movie if you haven't seen it, and so much horse dissection. So let me tell you how The Cell inspired my game loop. What if you could live the memories of the killer? It was a hit for me instantly. So the new game loop was talk to the killer, get a clue, unlock a memory, live the memory. Finally, the game loop felt fulfilling, complete. The player could now dive into the universe and open the horrors of our robot killer's head. Quickly, the focus of the game revolved around this new system, getting clues, diving into memories, and it really started to feel like we had something incredibly solid brewing in our britches. Though there is one question I have for myself whenever I create a game. Where is the replayability? This realization felt important. I then went through my game Face Interrogation, and I applied what I had learned. Whenever there is a choice in Face Interrogation, not only does the game tell you, hey, you just chose to do something with a pop-up, but the choices themselves carry a lot of weight. For instance, are you going to disconnect Judge in this scene, or are you leaving him alone? Disconnecting him and killing him could ruin your case, but he's clearly suffering. What do you do? Now I know I got it right when I see players just sitting on these choice panels, going back and forth between the two options. That's exactly what I wanted. Well, that's great. But I also wanted it to be crystal clear where you made a choice, just in case you wanted to return and try something else. So I created this branching node system. You can open it at any time and track the choice you made. So now with many branching difficult choices, and with a real impact on the story, I felt this really had solidified the replayability of Face Interrogation. This was reaffirming for me as I saw playtesters sometimes spend between 45 minutes and an hour and a half making sure they saw all the choices of the game. No one forced them to do that. I certainly didn't. They wanted to see what happened. Not only that, but these public Steam playtesters, who are widely known for being aggressively honest, were rating the game between 8 and 10 stars. This is by far the highest ratings I've ever seen for any of my games. And I gotta say, it was pretty relieving. But it wasn't till around this time I discovered something that truly changed the look of the game. You see, I had always decided in my head that I would pitch Face Interrogation to a publisher. The publisher I selected was Critical Reflex. They created games like Mouthwashing, and more recently, No, I'm Not a Human. I looked at these games, I even played them fully, and I realized these games have such a strong visual identity, one that you could instantly recognize from screenshots with no context at all. Then I looked at Face Interrogation, realizing although the story and the gameplay were great, it just sort of looked bland. I needed inspiration. I began thinking about the games I've loved. Instantly into my head came Borderlands, as well as Tall Tale Games' The Walking Dead. This almost comic book look outline with vivid color, and so I got to work fine-tuning and applying everything I've learned from these games to Face Interrogation. Now check this comparison out. Here's before I did anything, and here's after. It's actually incredible what a big difference this made, and I found that when playtesters opened the door to the sign-in room and got their first glimpse of the world, they would uncontrollably say out loud, I really like the look of this. Finally, Face Interrogation has a strong visual identity, one that makes it stand out on its own. And not only that, but with an all-star cast of voice actors for every single role, the game just feels valuable. It's hard to describe, but that's just the word that comes to my mind. Face Interrogation is just authentically me and everything I love about games. Hell, I even voice acted the beer-drinking robot you'll find in the game, inspired by Futurama. But I'll let you discover that yourselves, because I have a surprise. The demo is live right now. There's a link below and you can play. Get over there and check it out. And if you like the game, give it a wish list. I truly feel in my heart that this game is special and unlike anything I've ever made before. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. This has been Seth.